Hello, my name's Steven Payne. I'm a Learning Delivery Specialist with the Microsoft Australia team. I'm based in Perth, Western Australia, and my background is teaching maths. We will cover a little bit of maths today, but don't worry, there is something for everyone as we explore Microsoft Edge. I'll particularly show you how you can enhance and enrich the learning experience by using Microsoft Edge as the preferred browser in your classroom. So in today's session, we'll look at some of the accessibility features that are built into Edge, probably the best of any browser that you can have access to at the moment. We'll look at things like the read aloud tools, the immersive reader. I'll show you some great tools to help you organize your content and share your content. You've got inbuilt QR code readers, and you've got this really great tool called Collections that I use all the time to organize my research and lesson materials. We'll also look at a little bit of maths by using the Math Solver, which can help with pretty much any maths equation or question that you throw at it. Well, 60% of your time is spent on a browser while you're on a PC. So you want to make sure that you've got an effective browser with all the tools that you need. And Microsoft Edge has been around for a while, but it was revamped at the beginning of 2020 to bring some new features. It's now built on the Chromium engine, which is the same underlying architecture as Google Chrome. So all of the things that you may have used in Google Chrome now work in Microsoft Edge, but a lot faster and a lot better, in my opinion. So it's definitely the best browser that I use currently on Windows 10, but I also use it on my Mac and on my Android phone and on my iPad. And what's great is my collections and my bookmarks and some of my settings actually transfer across all of my different devices, which is super useful. We're going to explore some of the built-in learning and accessibility tools today. And while we're not going to touch on the security features of Edge, I'll show you where you can find out further information, and there'll be stuff there that will certainly please your IT departments and your school leaders. And a really great bonus is that you can use extensions in Edge that come from Google Chrome Store or from the Microsoft Edge Store. So I, for example, use Bitmoji quite a lot to brighten up my emails and tweets, and that works seamlessly by just logging on to the Google Chrome Store via Edge. So what features are we actually going to explore today? Well, we're going to look at some of the learning tools such as Immersive Reader, Read Aloud and Math Solver. We're going to look at how you can be more productive by quickly generating a QR code to share with students or with others. You can quickly capture websites, and you can use PDFs natively within the Edge browser. There's a whole great range of organization tools that we'll be exploring, and then I'll show you a few ways of managing your settings. So there's plenty to look at in today's session. So let's go straight into Edge and explore some of these great features. So I'm just opening up Microsoft Edge now, and you'll see it's a standard, well, it's got the standard browser look. I can type a web address at the top, and I've got some quick links here. This is actually my home page, and I've actually got access to my bookmarks. I've got access to my Office 365 account. So because I'm logged into Edge with my Microsoft School account, I can see recommended files, I can see my Outlook calendar events, SharePoint sites, documents that I've been working on recently, and I'll show you a little bit later how you can customize your start page into how it works just the way that you want it to. But to start with, I'm just going to go to one of the tabs that I've got open here, and I've just bookmarked here the Microsoft News Kids website. So there's a whole lot of kid-friendly news here. So maybe I want to have a look at why do we blink. So let's just open up this article. So I can read this article just like a standard web page, but I've also got these links here to other articles. There's a lot going on the page. and it can be quite distracting. So the first tool I'm going to show you today is the Immersive Reader. And you can see that in the address bar here, the Immersive Reader, it's a little book and speaker icon. And if you use the Microsoft tools, you've probably seen that in other apps such as OneNote, Word, Flipgrid, PowerPoint, Minecraft, Outlook. It's all over the Microsoft apps, and it's such a useful feature. So I'm just going to click on Enter Immersive Reader, but I can also access it with a keyboard shortcut F9. So I'm just going to click Enter Immersive Reader, and what that does is that just strips out any of the unnecessary images, links, videos, adverts, and I can just focus on the text. Great! Really helps me immerse myself in the text. I've got a few other options here as well now. If I go into Read Aloud, I can actually have this page read out to me.
Why do we blink? Have you ever had a staring contest?
So that can be really useful if I'm a beginner reader, or perhaps I'm new to English as a language. I have English as an additional language. I can just have that content read out to me. That can be really useful. I've also got the ability to change the preferences of text. So I can change the size of the text. So perhaps I've got poor vision and I need larger text. I can also change the spacing, which can certainly help students and others with dyslexia. There's a whole bunch of different themes that you can choose, which is the background colors and the fonts and things like that. I'll stick with white on black for now. And you've also got grammar tools here. So these are really useful for comprehension. So when I click on grammar tools, I can break words into syllables. That can really help with those long words. Look at this one, ophthalmologist. There we go. I can also highlight different parts of speech in different colours. So my nouns are all in purple, my verbs are in red, and so on. So a really great tool to help you get immersed in the text that's available there. And then finally, you have these reading preferences. So you can choose to focus on one line at a time. And when you play that back, it will just play one line at a time, or you can scroll down one line at a time, or 3 lines at a time, so you're not overwhelmed by what's on the page. There's also an inbuilt picture dictionary. So that actually can really help. It doesn't have every single word, but you'll notice as you click on certain words, the cursor will actually, or the mouse pointer, will actually convert into a magic wand and give you an image. So that can be really useful if you're working and with students who are beginner readers, or they're struggling with reading, or perhaps they have English as an additional language. Those reading preferences can be really useful. That picture dictionary, you can of course turn that off as well. It also has a translate option. So you can actually take pretty much any web page and translate it to another language. Just with one click, I have translated the whole page into Arabic. And I can actually listen back to that in Arabic as well. So some really great tools there. You just click in the address bar and look for the Immersive Reader option. You can also put read : / at the beginning of a URL, and that will also go straight into Immersive Reader. So you could actually bookmark this or send that URL to a student, and it will take them straight in to the Immersive Reader version of that page. So that can be really useful if you want to block out adverts and videos and things like that. So let's just come out of Immersive Reader for now. And I'm going to show you another thing. Maybe you don't need all the tools of Immersive Reader, but perhaps you're busy and you want to actually focus on listening to the text. You can actually just grab a part of the page, some of the text, right click and go into Immersive Reader. So rather than have the whole page in Immersive Reader, you can focus just on that paragraph. You can also choose to grab some text and just read aloud that section. So just by clicking read aloud,
Blinking is a reflex. It happens involuntarily.
it's not going to play back the whole page, it's just going to play back the selection that I have chosen. Okay, now I'm going to show you probably the feature that I use the most in Microsoft Edge now, and that's something called collections. And collections is at the top of your browser. It's this little plus button called collections, and what this allows me to do is organize my content. So I could be organizing content by lessons that I'm teaching, or by topics, or perhaps I'm researching something. Students might be doing a project on a particular topic. They can organize all of their resources into collections. And let me just give you a bit of an overview of what collections are. So when I click on collections here, oh, this is actually my collection for this session. There's my link to the MSN Kids website. Those are the things I've got to show you. You can add sticky notes. So I'm going to come on to PDF next. And you can add websites and so on. So I've got a whole bunch of collections here. I've got one on the inclusive classroom, one on Minecraft, one on Excel, one on Sway, one on Forms. And these are all just kind of different collections of resources that I am sharing with other people. So for example, if I wanted to add something to this collection, perhaps I'm reading this website and I'm going to use this in my, I need this in my research. I can just click add current page and it will add it to the bottom of that collection. Perhaps I just want that image, so I don't necessarily need the whole page collected. I can just drag that image into my collection and I've got the image with a link back to where it came from. So really useful to help with research and planning and things like that. Maybe I just want the text. I can just drag the text in there and that becomes part of my collection. So a really simple way to organize your content. So imagine students can organize that into subject areas, into projects that they're doing, and so on. So a really great tool is collections. The other thing I love about collections is that if I'm logged onto an iPad or to a phone and I've got Edge installed as my browser, my collections go with me. So I can find something while I'm out and about on my phone and I can save it straight into the relevant collection and it's there when I next access my desktop. One other thing that's useful about collections is that you can share them really easily. So if I click these three little dots here, I can send this whole collection to Excel, OneNote, Word, or Pinterest. So let's just send it to Word as an example. And what it does, if I'm logged in to my Microsoft 365 account, it just takes everything in my collection and it shares the notes and the links and the images directly into a Word document that I could then print or I could share with students or a member of staff or something like that. So a really simple way to organize your content and maybe have a lesson handout or a handout for staff at the end of a staff meeting. I really like collections and I think there's going to be more and more improvements as more and more people discover collections. Okay, now I've also got up here next to collections web capture, and what that allows me to do is basically just take a screenshot of something on the page that I can then annotate or save or print or do something else with. So I just click web capture and I can either capture the full page or I can choose a particular area of the page. Maybe I just want the text, or sorry, just the image, but I want to mark it up. So I can go and grab a pen, if I've got a digital pen, and I can actually highlight and write, and I can change the colors, and I can annotate that. And what can I do with that annotation? Well, I can save it as an image, or I can even add it to one of my collections. So let's add it into that Learning with Edge EduTech. So I can do that really simply with any web page. But I can also do that with images, with PDFs. So maybe I am looking at photosynthesis and I want to talk a bit more about what I've learnt. I can click web capture, capture an area, and then mark up. So I can say oxygen, let's grab a pen, goes into the air. Sorry, my writing is rubbish. Goes into the air, and maybe sunlight is energy. And I can kind of demonstrate my understanding and then save that or copy and paste that into another application. So I was just doing that on an image that I'd bookmarked. I can do the same thing with PDFs. So in Microsoft Edge, a PDF is the default viewer. So if I open a PDF on Windows, by default it will open in Microsoft Edge. And you'll notice here it has the read aloud function, so you can listen back to a PDF worksheet, or maybe you've got a story or a poem in a PDF. You can have that read aloud, but you can also draw. So if you've got something like here, like mathematics, I can actually pick up a pen and just draw. So maybe I'm going to solve this equation. 3b equals minus 27. So b equals 27 divided by 3, so minus 9. There we go. So I can actually work directly on a PDF if I've got a device with a pen, and I can save that or print that, or even save it into a collection. So I think PDFs are a really useful little add-on to Edge as well. Now you may have noticed in my toolbar I've got this little equation icon, which is my math solver. And what that allows me to do is essentially take a maths problem. It could be an equation, or it could be the formula for a graph, and I can actually work with it inside the browser. There's a little add-in that I'm going to show you now. So I can click Math Solver. Let me just zoom in a bit. I'm just actually zooming in with my fingers. I'm on a touch screen here, and I'm going to click Math Solver, and I'm going to choose this equation here. So I've selected that equation. I just hit Solve, and if I look over here, it's actually immediately solved. C equals minus 2, and I can actually see the steps at how that's been arrived at. So we've added 4 to both sides, we've added 2 and 4 to get 6, so on, and then we've got minus 2. So maybe I'm still not quite sure how that was solved. It suggested some videos here from Khan Academy. So there's a number of reputable sites where Microsoft Edge will go and recommend how you can go and find out further information about that particular concept. So that's a really useful feature that's built in directly to the browser. If you don't see the math solver or the web capture or something like that, another tip is those 3 little dots. So as more features are being added, you can find those by clicking on the 3 little dots. And you can see down here we've got more tools. So we've got the math solver, save page as, there's developer tools, and lots of things I haven't even looked at yet. But you can get further information by clicking those 3 little dots. Now I want to talk a little bit about the extensions I mentioned earlier. So you can see here that I've got a clip to OneNote. So OneNote Clipper allows me to go to a particular website. So maybe I'll just go onto this website and I click clip to OneNote. That will save that straight into my OneNote book. I've also got Bitmoji. This isn't actually an Edge extension, it's a Google Chrome extension. So all of your favorite Google Chrome extensions, whether they are music players, I've seen countdowns, maps, all sorts of third-party applications as well. Click the 3 little dots, go to extensions, and you've got access to the Microsoft Edge store. I haven't got a lot stored on this computer, but I've also can go to the Chrome Web Store and install extensions from there. So it really does make Edge a really customizable browser. Okay, now another really useful thing, I used to have an add-in for this, or an extension to generate QR codes for websites, but now that's built in to Edge itself. So I can go to any website and I can click create QR code for this page, and a QR code is automatically generated. That could be a page on the internet like this website here, or it could be a PowerPoint or a video that's in my own Microsoft 365 environment. As long as students have access to it and it's not blocked or it's not private, then they can just scan that QR code and go straight into that website. So that's a really useful tool. It's just built into the toolbar here. So we've got bookmarks. I tend to not use favorites or bookmarks anymore. I tend to organize most of my content into collections. I ended up with a long list of bookmarks, so I decided to cull it and organize it a bit better using collections. We've got the immersive reader, we've got the QR code reader, and then we have this new feature called Send This Page. So sometimes you might be using a number of different devices. You might have a laptop in your classroom, maybe you've got a desktop in your office, or you use a different computer at home. You can actually send this page and it will automatically open in Edge on one of your other devices. So I've got a laptop and I've got a Surface Book, and I can just click on this page and send that straight to Edge in my Surface Book. So when I open up my Surface Book, this page is going to be ready there for me to continue reading. So that's just another handy way to keep your browsing organized. Okay, I'm just going to now show you a couple of settings that aren't going to be for everyone, but are definitely useful if you have a certain role or you work in a certain way. So I use Edge a lot for when I'm working in schools and presenting, and I like to organize all of my Office 365 content, all of my educational stuff is all in Edge. But when I'm at home, I might look up the footy and the cricket, and I do my banking and I do my shopping and that sort of thing. And I want to keep the two kind of lives separate. And that's really easy to do in Microsoft Edge. You can make profiles. So I'm currently in my demo profile called Work, but I've got my personal profile here, which is where I've made collections for my banking, for my social media, and all my personal stuff that I don't necessarily need while I'm at work. If you work across two schools, or you work in a school and you're also studying for a PhD or whatever it might be, it's great to have those different profiles. You can just click Add Profile and have as many as you need. So that's a really useful feature. And then if you switch profiles on one device, you've also got access to those profiles on another device as well. So I think profiles are really useful. And built into that is the ability to have all of your Microsoft 365 content available wherever you are. So when I make a new tab here, you'll see my bookmarks, but as I scroll down, you'll see all of my Office 365 content, and I can even go to this little button in the corner and launch any of the apps and be automatically logged on to my school account. So that's a really useful tool. But what you can also do is personalize what your new tab or your start page looks like. You can have focused here, you can have inspirational with a nice picture, informational where it just gives you information. You can say what you're interested in. So you can customize this so you see information about your favorite sports or about your favorite topics. And you can personalize this to however you want to organize it. And you'll see you can customize it, have it inspirational. I like mine to be focused, nice and clean, so when I log in, I'm straight there. So just to remind you, lots of these features can be found under the three dots, and there's always help and feedback available there. And there are new bits of content being added all the time, so do check out what's new. Now, those are really the main features I wanted to share with you today in Edge, and I'm going to leave you with a couple of useful resources where you can go and find out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do now is show you this course. This is actually a 1 hour course that goes into a bit more detail about the things that I've been talking about today. And it's free. It's available on the Microsoft Educator Center, free for anyone to access. But if you actually log on and make an account with your school email or your personal email, any courses that you do will be recorded here, and you get a transcript saying how much time you've spent on this. And once you've done 2 hours, you become a Microsoft Innovative Educator. So that might be something worth doing. So this course here will allow me to have a look at the Immersive Reader, web captures, Math Solver, all the things that I've done today. I'll share the link to this in a moment. You can also go and find, well, let me show you in my collection. There we go. You can also go and find the Microsoft Edge. You can download it if you don't already have it. And as I said, it's available on Windows, but you can also get it via Macs, iPads and your phone. And something that's came out earlier this year is the Microsoft Edge Kids Mode. So there's information about that on the website as well. It's a much simpler interface, a lot more security. There's special features to make it nice and simple. Great little themes for younger students to do as well. So do go and explore Microsoft Edge and the Microsoft Edge Kids Mode. Okay, so to sum up, do go and explore Edge for yourself via Microsoft.com/Edge, Microsoft.com/Edge. You can take the Edge course at aka.ms/MEC Edge course. And if you've got any questions at all about Edge, do shout out on Twitter. They are really responsive. Just use the hashtag EdgeEDU. And if you want to log your hours for attending this course, how long have we done? About half an hour. You can log on to the Microsoft Educator Center at education.microsoft.com. And once you're logged in, click on your initials or your photo, choose Redeem Achievement Code, and type in this code here, T-SPE53E221. And that will show that you've spent half an hour learning about Edge with Steven Payne today at EduTech. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much for choosing to come to this session. I hope you found it useful. I hope that you will go and explore those tools and share them with your colleagues and students and families that you work with. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at stephen@standouteducation.com.au or reach out on Twitter at standouted. Thank you.